Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and welcome to the first podcast of 2021. 2020 was an interesting year, to say the least, but it's behind us now, and now we should look forward to what I'm thinking is going to be a hell of a new year. And what better way to start it than with a hell of a first guest? Today's guest is Silva Hound, a renowned EDM artist and DJ with years of experience who made quite the splash last year with the smash hit Addict featuring Michael Kovac and Chi Chi. This was a great conversation with a lot of laughs and lofty thoughts, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. If you do enjoy, like and share the podcast, subscribe on YouTube or follow on your favorite audio streaming platform. Also, follow us on Twitter at Postmodern Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements. And now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast.
It's my first one in a long time.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I take that back. I did one about about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
It was very addict centric.
Gotcha. I mean, this one will have a good bit of talk about Addict because, you know, to be blunt,
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not object to it at all.
Right. But I more or less just want to talk about like you as a whole as an artist more than anything else, you know, like what got you interested in this stuff, you know, your influence especially with pop culture, because in fact that a lot of the stuff you produce is based on pop culture stuff. Obviously Addict, you know, the stuff you've made since Addict and what you're planning to make and release and such, you know, all sorts of different things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down.
I try to have a well-rounded podcast more than anything else.
I gotta say, you get some interesting guests. You got, huh?
Let's say that again.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah, okay. I'm kind of in the middle of something. Don't do that. Okay. That's my girlfriend. She's hungry. I mean, so am I though.
Fair enough.
I was actually on here and I totally forgot about it. Here. This was okay. I like this place. It's like a Mexican restaurant.
Ooh.
They have really good breakfast. But I mean, you can pick something else up. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
You were saying that I did something or whatnot.
Was it a producer from Class of 3000?
He was the director of Class of 3000, like basically.
Yeah, the direct. Yeah, like how the hell did you get that?
This is where research and stalking really go hand in hand together. It's one of those. So when I was really starting the podcast, I was thinking of like just any sort of name out there that I could try to get. And I was thinking, well, let me not just get people that I currently like. Let me get some people that like influence what I like. And I loved Class of 3000, like straight up. Like it was one of my favorite shows. So it's like I looked. Sorry.
I was gonna say I really hope like you get like a larger following because like obviously like you got some stuff going on.
You don't know how touched I am to hear that. Like truly, like that's actually. That warms me up because
you're
sorry.
You're pulling guests. You're pulling like guests that have like previously like been like part of like projects broadcast to like and like the millions, and then like I see your reviews and like YouTube is still giving me like double digits, and it's like you should at least be a quad at least.
Oh no, trust me, it's one of those. You see the YouTube and ones, my Spotify / Anchor / audio listening ones are much worse. They're all double digits. I think the best video I have is actually the Sarah video, and that's partially because she was able to get it promoted on the Hazbin Reddit feed. That's how that one got big. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for the growth of this. This looks like it's going to be a hot thing. This is going to be a good podcast.
Again, you'll know how much I really do appreciate that, because I was like going into this one. Part of the reason why I was like so like nervous, especially when it came to yesterday and like anxious altogether, is because I think like with the Joe one, you've got to be at least one of like the top 2 or 3 guests I've had on here so far. And I'm just like, excited and, anxious and all the emotions
Well, either way, I'm honored. I'm honored
Well,
that
thank you.
that you reached out, and I've had quite a few requests for like podcasts, and it was just
Mhm.
like I was personally just like not feeling to do like any interviews at the moment because it was just like uh this could be stuff to talk about on the podcast.
That is true. That is so true. I mean,
This could be like the actual podcast. What am I doing?
I was gonna say, if it makes you feel any better, I've been recording for like a little bit, like ever since I asked, have you been on any podcast before? So if anything, this could be like the prelude to it, you know?
That's hot. That's hot. No, like I've gotten like requests before. It's just like right now I'm focusing on projects that I'll talk about later.
Right.
And it's just kind of like trying to be a little more low key right now, but just like going through like your podcast, and it's like super new, but like I haven't really seen any other like art centric podcasts,
Right.
with such a well-rounded cast of
Of different kinds of artists.
interviewees. Yeah, and it's really cool to see.
I mean, that's what I try to do with this kind of podcast more than anything else. Like, if nothing else, I want to not really redefine, but sort of like unveil to others like all sorts of different like artists and art out there, because I mean we all know like the big names when it comes to like certain kinds of art and certain animation, like the John K's and the BS names like that, but like
Mm.
with art you can know about the big names, but there's a lot of people that are doing this thing like either helping out or like creating stuff that no one's really like discovering, and I want to try to like not again yeah, I just want to like redefine what art can be for people. So that's why I try to bring like a plethora of different people on this podcast. So
Yeah, that's a big vibe.
no joke. I was gonna say, I mean, I got all sorts of like musicians and stuff. Like the pilot episode alone, that was actually a close friend of mine, and he was more or less the crash test dummy to see how this podcast would work. Like I told him that straight up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, that's no problem. I totally understand."
Yeah.
I was grateful.
I'm glad it took off somewhere.
Yes.
Man, it was like literally like about 4 or 5 months ago where I was even able to like live off of. I haven't been living off my music alone for very long. I've been grinding at a retail job and doing music, and it was literally like 5 months ago that I was able to finally like quit my job and pay all of my bills with the music alone. It's crazy.
That's right.
But it took like fucking like 8 years or so. Which I'll get into that later. But,
absolutely. No, I was gonna say, if it makes you feel any better, I know kind of how you're feeling right now, but like not to that extent. Because I'm just starting out, and you said yourself, you've seen the views and such, and while you're surprised by that,
yeah.
I was gonna say,
yeah, you're into like hit that trajectory ramp. It's a weird thing when it comes to like the analytic side of it. Like once like it really like starts becoming like a regular thing, there's gonna be a little pivot where basically like the growth is gonna be exponential. Usually it's to somewhere around like x squared, but it's basically like a perfect half parabola, and it's like if you keep this up, in my opinion, I would say around episode 200, you might be like in the thousands.
Okay. I mean, I'm not planning on slowing down anytime soon, and this is only episode 15, so I think I could wait a couple of years.
But that's me being a numbers type asshole.
No. Honestly, I mean, you said yourself, you've been doing this for years now, so I completely get where you're coming from. I totally do. I was hoping to maybe jumpstart that trajectory a little bit by getting big names like you and someone that worked on, of all things, Class of 3000. Like, I thought,
I could, like, I tell you, if you were around, like, 2012, if this podcast was around, like, 2012,
I know, right?
You could have, like, I mean, well, not even could have, like, you could now. Like, I I want to talk about this in the podcast.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Now you're
There's
basically
a lot.
now that you're basically primed up. I'm probably still gonna include, like, if it's okay with you, I'm probably gonna include like most of this bit like in the podcast.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But
Joe Budden does it all the time.
There you go. I had to include that a little bit with the, well, not even really a little bit, but with the Joe Horn podcast. I don't know if you've listened to that all the way through or not. But no, it's fine. About halfway through, like, his feed like just completely cut out, like for no like real reason whatsoever. And so me and my group of friends, we're sitting there for like a good like 10-15 minutes like BSing, but then like he comes back. And the first thing he asks is not about what we were talking about, which was like Class of 2000 stuff, but like the first thing he asks is, so what was your guys' first concert? I'm like, this is out of nowhere, but okay.
Ooh, that's a vibe. That's what a heroic way to jump back in.
I mean, it was a good one. And even like my friend Alex, he was straight up just looking, he's like, you know, this is going into the podcast. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'll just do like a little technical difficulties thing or whatnot, which I've learned, instead of finding sound effects, it's so much better to record your own like technical difficulties or bleeps or stuff. I found that so much funnier.
Yeah, kind of get that raw reaction.
What was it with Vera Much? I had to censor a certain name because like this such and such had issues with gorillas, and we were talking about that. And like she had mentioned the name like 3 separate times, and I'm like, should I just leave that in, or should I just go ahead and cut this a little bit out just to be safe? And she's like, oh, you can just censor it. And I'm like, more work for me, but okay. But I didn't want to do like the censored bleep, so I just went close up to the mic and I was like, name redacted. And it was so funny listening to it back.
That's good. That's clever.
I know, right?
That's some nice on the spot thinking. That's good.
Exactly. Again, like the way it flowed in the conversation too is like, well, gorillas, they had some trouble with name redacted, and it was my thing.
I love it.
Absolutely. Anyways, shall we get to the podcast now?
Intro.
All right, Silva. Before we get started, even though we're in a new year, I have to start with the same question for every single podcast. What is your most unpopular art opinion?
You know what's funny? Like, I was actually like thinking on this like forever, and
really,
like I have such a scatterbrained skull that every time I started thinking about it, like my mind would trail off into something else. So, my most unpopular art opinion. Basquiat is better than Warhol.
Basquiat is better than Warhol. Okay, care to elaborate on that a little bit?
No. No. Well, okay. No, I can't say that because it's like, I am personally more of a fan of Basquiat than I am of Warhol, but essentially Warhol was Basquiat's biggest hero.
Really?
And yeah, and like, because like the greatest pieces of visual art in existence at this moment are like the Basquiat Warhol collaborations. In like I want to say the 70s, I think. Like what Warhol brought to the art world was basically one revelation to modern art, and what Basquiat brought was like a whole nother, but it was like the idea of it was influenced by Warhol. And so to say that Basquiat is better than Warhol is kind of unfair, because without Warhol, there would be no Basquiat as we know.
Right.
In the form of which we've known him. But the thing that I personally love about Basquiat is the way he translated raw emotions and like raw stigmas and like pure like raw like chemical feelings into art, into the expressions that he put on canvas. And it like the idea of that kind of came from Warhol. It's just that the way Warhol did it, he took he took well-known faces and well-known products and redefined them in a way as to uh, as to satirize capitalism in general.
Right.
And so, yeah, like Basquiat's basically just the offshoot of that. So it's kind of unfair for me to say that Basquiat's better than Warhol, because it's like he was literally like the jumping point. Like,
I mean, to be
like if
fair,
mm,
I was gonna say, to be fair, I mean, when it comes to like art in general, a lot of art is taking inspiration from other stuff. So yeah, we wouldn't have Basquiat if it wasn't for Warhol. But for all we know, Basquiat would have probably gotten inspiration from elsewhere if it wasn't for Warhol.
I think I could be wrong, but I think Pollock might have been a good reference point too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I think Keith Haring was doing his thing around the time too. So that could have rubbed off a little bit for all I know. But definitely like the way it's really just a personal taste kind of thing for me.
Right.
But the way that Warhol was able to communicate his expression is amazing, particularly in a anti-establishment kind of way. And Basquiat's blueprint talent was just kind of a direct birth of that anti-establishment kind of vibe that Warhol initially established in his early times.
All right then. But nevertheless, even if you don't think necessarily Warhol is or Basquiat is better than Warhol, the fact that Basquiat was your more preferred artist, is that a hill you're willing to die on?
I'm willing to take the entire population of America with me on that hill.
You know what?
And just Jim Jones the shit.
There you go.
Ooh, should we edit that out?
Who knows? Let's just leave it in, see what happens. But if nothing,
see what happens. Yeah.
Fuck it.
And
We'll
then we'll
do it
just
live.
re-upload.
We'll just re-upload. But nevertheless, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome everyone to the podcast. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on whatever streaming platform you prefer, and follow us on Twitter at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is an independent artist and DJ whose music is inspired by some of the pillars of pop culture today, from Undertale and My Little Pony to Among Us and Hazbin Hotel, the latter coming with a music video with over 60 million views. Welcome to the podcast, Silva Hound. Silva, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little off the wall sometimes, so forgive me for whatever is about to happen.
Hey, you know what? That is completely fine. That is perfect with me. It is a great way to start off the new year by being a little bit off the wall. Consider, in fact, how not even off the wall, through the wall 2020 was. I think this is probably a good way to start things off.
Big vibe.
There we go. But before we get started with 2020 and all stuff like that, let's go a little further back. I want to get kind of the origin story of Silva Hound. What got you interested in music and art in general?
Oh man, a lot. But probably like the first thing was like family.
Okay.
Now we're like your like classic African American Southern family, middle of Atlanta, Georgia, and rap is king.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of cousins who are like into hip hop and did a lot to try to get into that lane of music. So I've had that's good. So I've had cousins. Stutter. Sorry, my girlfriend was asking for something.
That's fine.
Love you. But a cousin of mine started, rapping, and he would produce his own beats on a old, I want to say Casio. I think it was an old Casio piano or keyboard rather. And I was like 11, maybe 12 at the time. And actually, no, it might have been younger than that. Let's see. 2011, 2001, I would have been 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, no, that's about fair. About 2005. Oh yeah, so I was about 11 or 12.
Okay.
And I would go in the living room. This is my grandparents' house that my cousin would do that, and I would uh go into the living room. I would hop on the Casio, and I would just figure it out. I would learn it, learn how to record stuff on there, and I would just like kind of start making my own little instrumentals, make my own beats, if you will.
Nice.
So you fast forward to like 2008. I download FL Studio Trial, which is like FL 6 at the time. I think it might have just updated to 7. To give you some context, we're currently at 20, FL 20.
I need that context. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, like 2008, I think Soulja Boy was like the big thing right now,
Right.
and he blew up quite considerably, off of in that made himself, and he essentially rapped on top of his own instrumentals and blew up huge. That was actually around 2006. That was around 2006, and I had basically learned how to recreate those instrumentals on FL Studio. They were fairly simple. They're like fairly really simple. But at the time, it was kind of like it was kind of an innovative do-it-yourself kind of vibe with Soulja Boy. There weren't a lot of people pumping out, the very same music that they were producing instrumentals for, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like pre-Twitter. This is like old. This is like old Facebook.
Like
this is like when
MySpace.
Facebook was like, yeah, like like MySpace was still on and popping. Like this is like Dig. This is like Dig era. I don't know if anyone remembers Dig. That was Tumblr before Tumblr.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, like his music like got around.
Yeah.
Like he was really, like, in my opinion, I think he was like the first like viral
Artist,
self-produced self-produced artist, right? He was like to get like properly like huge the way he did. I think he was like the first one of his caliber, and so I took huge initial inspiration from that to like learn how to do it. And so I had done that for like, for a long time, and I was like in middle school, going into high school. And all while it's going on, I'm enamored by like all kinds of music, around me. Of course, rap is still like, the main thing, but
right.
I was a huge TV head. I watched everything that came on the TV. So, watching Pokemon since '96.
There we go.
And well, not '96. It was
Things like 98.
Yeah, like 98. The game kind of came out in 96.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known about that at the time. Yeah, like 98, 98, 99, Sailor Moon every fucking day. It felt like it. And so I was exposed to like just so much different music. I kept my ears glued to MTV and VH1 and BET. And I had a little emo phase,
Who didn't? Let's be honest. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't?
There you go.
Well, no, that's not true. Like, okay, growing up, African American kid in Atlanta, in the late '90s, early 2000s, having an emo phase was about the weirdest shit you could do.
Okay, good, fair enough. Fair enough.
For someone like me, in that part of culture at that time, this is pre Nicki Minaj,
right?
This is pre, we didn't have anybody like Dorian Electra now, or Rico Nasty. We didn't have any of those, artists who were like really like putting that, that like that cyberpunk aesthetic that, you know, totally off the wall, like, you know, crazy shit. You know,
Yeah.
it was pretty much like all ratchet. um, you know, for lack of a better phrase. So it was weird. It was weird having a like emo phase, having a punk phase, or having that goth phase. You know, I had it for like a week. Um, but you know, I definitely made friends who were like about that life. You know,
Okay.
and so you know, I was I got into Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, uh, Panic at the Disco, you know, all those guys, Coheed and Cambria. I got into all that shit.
There you
Um, and but you know, I was still at home, work, taking those influences and applying them to my beats, trying to be as creative as possible. And somehow Tiesto snuck in there and influenced me a little. Cartoon Network blessed me with Daft Punk influence.
Yeah.
When the Interstellar 5555 premiered, I was in love. I fell immediately in love with that. I think that may have been 2002. It may have been 2002. The video, because the album came out in 2001.
Right. That seems about right.
Yeah, I think the videos came out in 2002, and yeah, I was young. That might not have been middle school yet. That might have been elementary school. But I was hooked, and so I all my life just all this fucking music, just all kinds of fucking music, just like going in this tiny little brain of mine. And it wasn't until like 2009. Yeah, it wasn't like 2008 or 2009 where I decided to just full on go for EDM. Just try to make some like house music, and I think my first stuff just kind of ended up kind of like being like some decent like trance type stuff.
Yeah.
And I was also a furry too. Like by 12 years old, I had pretty much like confirmed myself to be a furry. So it was like 2007 or 2008. I found Fur Affinity, made an account, and started uploading my music there. I met a handful of people. Some of those who I still keep in touch with today.
Oh, good.
And so it was about 2010 where my first initial like big break came in the form of like My Little Pony, where like people were watching it and people were like into it. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then I like watched. I watched the second episode. Everyone online was talking about like the first episode and how cool it was. And I was like, what? Okay, whatever. And then like the second episode, I was like, fuck it, I'll watch the second episode. And it was like, it wasn't bad. It was cool. It was like way better than like the shit that it used to be. Shout out to Lauren Faust for that. So it like I got some. It gave me a little inspiration to like make some music based off of the characters in the show.
Yeah.
Which essentially that was like there was a furry artist by the name of Renard who had made some like drink recipes based off of each pony, and I thought it was so cool. And I thought like the design of each like drink card was like so cool that it inspired me to like make music off of the like what song would basically like play like as you're drinking it.
Yeah. No, that's also a good idea right there.
Yeah, I like that's what my stupid little 16. I want to say 16. Let's see. 18. I was 18. Yeah, that was my stupid little 18-year-old brain at the time. So, well, no, technically I was 17 because I didn't turn 18 until that December. But so yeah, I was 17. Yeah, my stupid 17-year-old little brain thought of at the time. So I did that, And before I did that, like I was making like Pokemon remixes, which would get like 10 views, 20 views, 50 views, 80 views. It was the coolest shit in the fucking world to me.
Yeah.
I get one or two comments, two, three comments. It's like the fucking coolest fucking shit in the world. This was like 2010. This is 2010. And like the next thing I knew, I made this Twilight Sparkle theme song, and it broke 100 views.
There we go.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. It kind of influenced me to make another one. I was like, fuck it, Applejack next, and then I think it made like 200 views, and then like the Twilight Sparkle song got like 1,000 views, and then that was like my first time ever like breaking 1,000, and then I discovered that a website by the name of Equestria Daily featured my stuff on their website, and so I found out like there's this whole fucking community of people like actually into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically my initial exposure to like brony culture. And so for like from like 2010 to like fucking I'll say now because I still do it every once in a while. I have been making music based off of My Little Pony as like a musical career.
There you go.
Essentially like it made enough like money to like mean something, and like yeah, like I was like touring and shit. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh, I can only imagine. I just want to start off by saying real quick, thank you. You've answered like at least 4 or 5 questions already.
I talk a lot.
No, that is perfectly fine. I love it whenever people like talk, a lot, because this is the stuff that you're passionate about. This is stuff that like influenced you more than anything else. Like, why should I stop that influence?
Yeah. I was literally going through like memory lane there,
and
like
that's good.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say because my next question was gonna be like, when did it go from being a love to more or less a passion or a career? Which you kind of answered that with the when the My Little Pony stuff really started to blow up, and like you said growing up all these different pop culture references. I do want to get one thing. I know you mentioned being a furry as well. Where did the name Silva Hound come from, if I may ask?
My stupid ass thinking it was clever. Like essentially kind of like a twist on like a greyhound.
Yeah.
But the Silva instead of like a silver,
Right.
that's just kind of like a thing that kind of came from like rap culture, and like Busta Rhymes and shit like that.
Soulja Boy, yeah.
Right, Soulja Boy, exactly. So yeah, it just kind of comes from rap culture.
I know if there was like a deep hidden meaning with that one, but no, that totally makes sense. I completely get that.
It's that's about as shallow as it gets.
Fair enough. I do want to delve a little bit deeper to kind of the My Little Pony aspect just a little bit. You said that like there was a good like strong community with it that helped you kind of grow further along with it to the point to where you were even featured in a documentary, A Brony's Tale, which I think is incredible, by the way. I was gonna say, how much of an influence did like the show and then the community as well? How much more of an influence did it really have to where you got to the point to where you are now, more or less?
I mean, like, this wouldn't happen. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, like, Addict wouldn't happen. This interview wouldn't happen if it wasn't for My Little Pony. For as long as I had been a part of that community, I made so many friends and met so many people who all had like similar aspirations. We were all like somewhat experienced music producers, like all like into this one thing.
Okay.
And like 2012 was like the first time I had attended a convention. Conventions started of this shit. That popular, like, those were the first real fandom to establish itself as a world-renowned presence since Star Wars.
Yeah, it really has.
I think, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. There's like any other like media that has like influenced that as such, but I think like, like anime is like kind of like its own thing.
I was gonna say,
I don't
like,
think,
if there was gonna be anything that strong, I would say Star Trek, but I'm not gonna say a side product of the Star Wars thing, but like Star Wars certainly helped the Star Trek fandom go from it being just a show from the '60s that people love to a true like passion that they have. But I totally get also where you're coming from with like the My Little Pony community, like truly making its presence known, like not just when it comes to convention, but a little bit when it comes to like mainstream, like at least when it comes to like the internet age. Like they've definitely had a strong influence from what I've seen.
I think bronies were like among like the first, if not the first, among the first like heavy content creators based on fandoms. Like Trekkies got their thing, Star Wars fans got their thing. But like anime fans have like whole communities, where there's like fans who dedicate themselves to like making music. That's literally the Toho fandom, where they dedicate themselves into like making anime influenced music. And the art will forever be there. The art will forever be a community on its own.
Right.
But outside of of like the big players, like that, the big players like furry and anime, like that's just like the general thing. I don't think there's ever been like anything like based on like a single show. Because like anime is like a whole aesthetic, and furry is like a whole aesthetic.
Yeah.
My Little Pony is like literally just like this one show, and it wasn't even like the entirety of My Little Pony. It was like literally like the fourth generation.
Yeah. And,
that kickstarted all of this.
And more or less kind of an offshoot on, if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was on other channels, but on this little network show that next to no one even heard about, The Hub. I don't know if
right.
Yeah. And like it's incredible. Again, like I'm gonna be upfront and honest. I am not part of that community. I respect it like a million times over, mainly because of like the love and the passion that they have for each other and for the product, and like the inspiration from the stuff that comes from that stuff. It's a sight to behold more than anything else.
Yeah. It's because I think for starters, like the show itself, like the fact that it was so interesting, I think that was all just good writing.
Yeah.
I always feel like if you write anything well, people will follow it. If you write anything well enough, people, if people take time to ingest the writing, whether that be a story, a video game, or a TV show, people will follow it. You just have to like invest in the creative direction and the integral process of writing the shit out of it. And essentially, MLP, Friendship is Magic, they wrote the shit out of it, basically. Great character development. Each initial episode was like entertaining. And it's funny because I think a big deal of that had to do with having Lauren Faust direct this iteration of it, because she's known for like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and and working on Powerpuff Girls with her husband Craig McCracken. And that those was like her resume at that time, and so like she was brought on to do MLP, and it hit it hit different from the ponies. Like Cartoon Network was king at the time, and basically she just hit it out the park again. It was just the medium that she put her expertise on. This time the audience was a lot different, but what she brings to the table is something that an audience like what I was a part of, was already like into. I was already fucking binging Foster's Home forever. I was, I for I had already binged Powerpuff Girls at least 3-4 times in my fucking life. The shit was good.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like that very same like form of storytelling was applied to the ponies. What made it such a hit media sensation was that motherfuckers don't watch My Little Pony out in daylight. Motherfuckers don't do the shit on the open. That was like what the media saw this, and it was just like, what the fuck is going on? And we were just out here like, we will tell you what the fuck is going on. This shit slaps.
Yeah.
And so it just influenced a lot of the shit was so creative. It just influenced a lot of us to like create more content based off of it. And as a result, a whole entire community was founded off of the interest off of this one show.
Mm-hmm.
And that one show was catered to an audience that was a target audience that was completely the opposite of what had been established. So the media was all over it, and and venues were into it, and it all became this huge thing. It all became this huge organized fandom. And I was among the earliest music producers to like put out content based off of it. And we like the musicians of that fandom, it pretty much like we did our thing. And there's like a whole new generation of like brony music producers now, like still doing their thing and still seeing numbers. And it's really interesting to to see that last for so long.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially from your shoes for being it so far. I mean, they've definitely they're definitely out there and they're definitely producing a bunch of stuff. I saw, at least via your Spotify, that like you definitely established some yourself with the Equestrian Stories, the Prelude, which I actually sat down and listened to, and there's some like legitimately good songs like on there, like dead serious. Like,
oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's one because like if I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna make sure that if I already appreciate them, I want to see how much more I can appreciate of a person. And like, even if I didn't know that was like even taking the context out of the pony stuff or whatnot, like it's still like legitimately like good music that you produce more than anything else. I kind of want to ask, like, it could be with that one, but just in general, what's sort of the creative process for you as a producer when it comes to making music?
Man, I hate this question. No, it's not even like against you. It's like literally just like the question itself. Like for me, it's like it's weird for me. And
Okay.
I've talked to like fellow producers, fellow collaborators about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's like an idea. It's the idea of a song. It's the idea of the melody. It's the idea of the production. It's like I have this thing where I can kind of like visualize like the whole thing in my head, but I won't put it down into physical production until like I'm like really ready for it to be made. Like whether it becomes successful or not, I hate the idea of regretting anything that I've made.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
So I just kind of sit on it and wait for my mind to be like, I wait for my mind to be sound with the idea before I actually start like putting it down. And then then I start getting frustrated because uh, then like I'll start working on it and it doesn't fucking sound right. But yeah, like cause I take inspiration from like literally everything that I hear, everything that I see. And like as far as the actual production process, I work fairly quickly. It's just like getting to that point that takes the most mental energy for me. So like ideas it's kind of coming out of the church of Kanye.
Okay.
But the 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 ideas are king. Like the idea is what has the value. What makes you talented is the ability to take that idea and bring it in, into the real world from your brain. And so I foster that idea, and I work as hard as I can to make sure that that idea becomes, physical, in its rawest form. So I just kind of sit on it for a while.
That's fair enough. I was gonna say, if it makes you
Yeah.
feel any better, that's kind of the mentality I had when it came to making this podcast or making anything that I really do as well. Like I've been sitting
Mm.
on this concept for like a little bit. I was initially gonna do it with like producers and directors and writers and such in like the movie industry, but like I thought more
Yeah.
about it and I thought most of them are probably gonna get their time anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd still would like to have them on. I'd love to have
Yeah.
any sort of like director or like actor like come on and chat about their stuff. But like more than anything else, like I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm like, screw it. Let me just write down a list of people I just would love to talk to more than anything else. So
Yeah. That's a huge vibe. I love it.
there we go. Well, I mean, I was gonna also say like you were talking about like thinking about it and like settling on something. I'm gonna assume that's also the same mentality you have when it comes to genres. Like whenever you're trying to produce like certain kinds of music and such. I remember seeing a tweet a little bit ago saying, or I forget what the GIF was behind it or like the photo behind it, but you're talking about like people whenever they try to tell you like define what genre you're in or whatnot. Like, what sort of mentality do you have whenever you decide, okay, I want to make this kind of song or I want to make this kind of music?
Oh, that was the 26th. That was the day after Christmas.
Mm.
Yeah. So okay, so that song, I tweeted about a song.
Yes.
My latest song, I had worked with Erica Lindbeck, who is an amazing voice actress.
Yes, she is.
Um,
And the stipendium.
for and the Stupendium. Um, Erica Lindbeck has like a resume out of this fucking world. Out of everything else. If you've played Persona 5, she is Futaba.
Okay.
Um, she's in Final Fantasy 7. Um, she's also Barbie.
Huh.
She's she's also current generation Barbie.
Huh. I should I
Yeah.
should have done more research on her.
Like all the videos, DVDs, and like video games of like Barbie, like since like I think 2016
Right.
is Erica Lindbeck.
Now that I think about that, that's just a million times more hilarious because it's like here she is being Barbie, being like this nowadays like motivational person, like you could be who you truly are, and then and hell of a boss, fuck off.
Yeah, her range is
It's
it's
incredible.
crazy. Yeah, she voices Luna in Hell of a Boss, and I just had like I love the character for reasons other than what most people love her for. She's furry bait. I I actually, besides the furry bait, I actually was into like her like personality and character. Like she definitely reminded me of like someone like having like um ideas, well, not ideas, but oh yeah, ideas and thoughts and feelings about just kind of like being in a being in a living condition where shit seems unfair, but you just like fuck it, let me vibe.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like shit like that. So like it was just like a really cool. Like I seen the pilot for Hell of a Boss, and like it just like it inspired me to write. Like the fact that it's rap I rap is to me like perfect rebel music, right? Not fucking punk rock.
Right.
Well, no, I can't say that. I will. They'll burn me at the stake for that. Punk rock is rebel music. But hip hop is also rebel music. Um, but I think hip hop is rebel music on a on in a deeper aspect
Mm-hmm.
where rap came out of uh rap came out of African Americans being uh in situations that they had no power in being able to control themselves, like from slavery to welfare, affordable housing, and gentrification,
Mm-hmm.
and you know all of the problems that come from race relations in America and in the world. Hip hop is a direct testament of the struggle that um, African Americans have had, trying to fucking live.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's the birth of it. And so I've always felt like rap was like the ultimate rebel music.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can be, it's much easier to be white in punk rock than it is to be black in punk rock. Like I'm I'm just putting that out there.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. Trust me. You don't hear any,
Yeah.
You're not gonna hear any sort of pushback from me. So.
I mean, like if you feel any different, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here for the conversation.
No, I mean, to be fair, more than anything,
I'm young.
I was gonna say more than anything. When has it been easier for a black person in any situation these days, especially now that they're trying as hard as they can to just climb, like basically climb tall steep hill compared to a white guy who basically has like a freaking helicopter ride up to the top.
Yeah, and it's usually not even that crazy. It's always usually like in microaggressions. It's usually the struggle is usually like the difference in struggle between a white person and a black person. It like on a normal basis it's usually just like minor microaggressions.
Right.
But it's those microaggressions that over time, people will notice them and people will come to understand that it comes from a place of unfairness.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get frustrated about it, but it's not so easy to make art based on it. And so and then here comes rap. Here comes rap music to kind of create that avenue, for African Americans to talk about it on a platform. So that's me butchering the origins of rap. Thank you. That's the red carpet for me to say. I paid no. I asked
Erica or
no, I won't say that. No, I had a whole thing I was going to say.
okay.
I'm not going to say it. So, okay, what I will say though. So fast forwarding back to the question.
Okay.
It being rebel music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt like that was like, for me, like that was like the perfect like canvas for Luna to put into words just how she felt, and it was a little like what I wrote was like it was like a little bit of angst, and it was a little bit of fuck bitches get money. It was a little bit of both worlds in there. Um, and I felt like I knew that if you liked Addict, you might not like this. I felt that, and so what that tweet was about was literally like once the song was released, it was just I got quite a slew of comments both on the video and my Discord server.
Okay.
Just complaining about it being rap, it not being good rap, it not like the auto tuning. Like, by the way, it was hilarious. The auto tune comments were hilarious because they loved it on Addict.
Yeah,
it's the exact same shit here. Like, like just say it out loud. It's the genre. You don't like that genre, like okay, So yeah, that's what that tweet was. It was like good morning to everyone except those who think I should stick to one single genre.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was me voicing my frustration for that.
I totally get where you're coming from on that one. Like, you put a lot of time and effort into something that you truly wanted to, bring out to the world, and people are focusing on a minute detail and comparing it to something else. I can get where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah. But I'm still proud of it personally.
You should be proud of it. You should be proud of it.
Yeah, and so I just felt like rap was like the perfect like rebel music.
Yeah.
Like a lot, I get a lot of like I got a few comments, saying like, oh, I expected it to be like rock. I expected it to be more like a rock song than rap. And it's just like, yeah, because you think that rock is like rebel music, but like, hear me out. Rap is more rebel than rock is.
There you go.
Just
so
that's it.
I was gonna say, at least for me, this isn't like your first time like delving into other genres and stuff. I was gonna say, when I was listening back on your catalog, one of the songs that I instantly fell in love with was Ink Machine Gun, from a little bit back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that an example of electro swing? Because that's like the instant vibe I got off of that.
That is definitely electro swing influenced. For sure.
Okay.
I did want to like make sure like there was some electro swing influence because that song is based off of a video game, Bendy and the Ink Machine.
Right.
And now that has a fandom. That has a pretty big fandom.
That's a good underground fandom more than anything else.
Yeah. Very similar to the upbringing of like the brony culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that that's why I say like Ponies was like kind of like the first like to kind of blow up the way it did, because like not too long after that you started seeing Five Nights at Freddy's fandoms,
right?
Bendy and the Ink Machine fandoms, just like and then before you knew it, you had at every piece of media that blew up and got popular, there's a whole fandom behind it. That's sort of like the concept like became cemented. So anyway, yeah, that was a song that was actually for a charity that the game itself was hosting.
Really?
Yeah. It was first released through the developers, Kinley Beast, I believe.
Okay.
Or Kindly Beast. So they released it first, and then like about a month later, we were cool with like re-releasing ourselves. So that's where it came from. But the song itself was it's definitely inspired by one of the characters in the game.
Yeah.
And there's a huge like fixation for electro swing in that particular fandom. And so I just kind of wanted to throw in like a bit of electro swing influence in there, but still wanted to like keep like I didn't want to go full on left field.
Right.
I wanted to, because like I was like this was like fresh off of Addict.
Oh, okay.
So like this may have been like This may have been like a couple months after Addict. Um, so I wanted to you know like make sure that like anyone who had listened to Addict could enjoy something in a different fandom, but also just kind of keep in mind like what I make. So I think I did that for a hot minute, and then like the Luna song was kind of like, yeah, I can do something totally different too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Bendy song I sprinkled just a little bit. So that's not electro swing
Okay.
like by itself, but it's definitely like a touch of that in there for sure.
Okay. It's one of those I remember, like, I like electro swing personally. Like, I remember, like, there's just not enough of it being produced out there these days. So it's like whenever I heard that little bit, I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. That's a good vibe more than anything else.
There's people like the musical. There's also this one artist by the name of Oreo.
Okay.
But the E is a 3.
Gotcha.
It's like Oreo. They make top tier electro swing.
Okay, I'll definitely have to look into that. I know the biggest name that I could think of at least is Caravan Palace. That's the one that I always went back
That's
to.
one that everyone and their mother knows.
Yeah. Fair enough.
No, it's valid though. It's valid.
Yeah. I just want to say, is there a genre that you would like to like eventually dip your toes into at some point, like just to try, or is there something that you're maybe potentially trying to do now, just to like try something a little different?
That I haven't?
That you haven't, yeah. Or are you just kind of one of those, like, you're just always open, like, if it comes to you, you'll try it?
Sort of. I mean, I don't know, because, like, I've goddamn near done it all. Like, rock, pop, and everything else. No, I'm kidding. I mean, like hyperpop is the thing right now.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, there's definitely gonna like be like some release of mine that definitely has that in there. But I really feel like I might have done it already. Like, I've definitely had some like remixes of my work. That is definitely like pure like hyperpop. I've definitely like commissioned some remixes of like a single or two. Well, I've definitely commissioned a remix or two. Like, that was like definitely in the hyperpop era, like, for sure. So definitely like a single from me, like, for sure. But other than that, like, yeah, I just I move whatever toward I move toward wherever the influence is. Jazz is always something I think about frequently. I'll probably have a saxophone solo in a song at some point.
I would love to
accompanied with a piano solo. Yeah, for sure. Like, it very likely happen soon. So yeah. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, sky's the limit. I just want to throw out a possibility. This probably will never happen, but I'm saying if it's possible, like, you've already tried rap, let's try to go a little bit further to some of the newest flavor, a little bit of country rap. If we're gonna do it based on like popular things, HELLUVA, get Vivian Nixon, the voice of Millie, Lil Nas X, you collab, that would be incredible. I'm just saying.
This podcast is over.
I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, thanks for the idea.
No, hey, I'm just throwing it out there. You could do what you want with it. You could take it and burn it on fire. I'm just throwing a random idea out there just to test.
You know what? Diplo, his newest project as Thomas Wesley, actually has some really nice country rap in it. Okay. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
So like Diplo is definitely a big influence, because he seems like he can do just about anything. Like, he goes from EDM to hip hop to ambient. He just dropped the ambient album last year, and no one fucking knew about it. to, and so now like now his thing is country EDM, country pop, country rap, and it like country fusion. That's his thing right now is country fusion, and it's lit. It's actually like pretty good.
There you go.
So I could figure something out maybe.
Okay. Again, I just wanted to just toss something out there, but let's go with let's get away from perspectives. Let's go to the reality, and let's get to the reality of your biggest hit so far, like without a doubt, Addict. I just have to know, how did the concept for that song sort of come together?
I had watched the pilot for Hazbin Hotel like sometime around like, because it came out in December of 2018, and it had to not 2018, 2019.
I was gonna say I thought it was like October 2019 or something like that. Either way, it was late 2019.
No. I think you're right. I think it was October, and Helluva Boss
came out in December.
Came out in December. Yeah. You're right. Thank you. So yeah, I had seen the pilot like in December, or like November, December. I have the Discord chats. I have to
there you go.
That shit. But like late 2019, yeah. And it was cool. It was cool as fuck. And I hit my friend Chi. I made a demo, which it was pretty much like the bass chords. The demo I made in like a day, and I sent it to Chi. And she was definitely excited about singing. I asked her to sing on it, and she was down to do that. So I wrote some stuff, and she sung the hook. I told her it was like an Angel Dust song, and we went through like two people to see if we could get the thing for it, and like the first person agreed, but unfortunately was too tied up with their own schedule to do it. The next person didn't like the profanity in it, and didn't want to do it on the basis of that. Which I mean, I can't help,
Right.
So then Chi suggests, she says, you want to try Michael Kovac? And I was like, sure. I really wasn't expecting to go that far. I wasn't expecting to go as far as to actually get Angel Dust on this shit. Because I know like with like the pony thing, I eventually like met Tara Strong, who voiced
really?
Twilight Sparkle, and like at my first convention, and we got to know each other, and over time, she agreed to collaborate with me on a song then. Just like, yeah, that was like 2012, old EP, Bass Rocket. So that was like my first collab with like a big name voice actress.
Right.
Technically second, because I have another collab with another person on there who was a lot smaller in popularity then than she is right now. She's fucking amazing. Which we could probably get into that in a minute. But so definitely hadn't been my first time working with a voice actor, but it was just like it was left field for me because I was just getting into this.
Yeah.
So it was just like the fact that she had contact with Michael was like it threw me for a loop, and I was like, okay, sure, you try. I was like, why not? I wasn't expecting the world, but he agreed. And so I sent them the demos, sent them the lyrics, and I think we got it done like early January.
Okay.
Had my buddy Coda fire up some visuals for it. and it was out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, yeah, it
Now,
was.
Valentine's Day, I used to work at Auntie Anne's, pretzel place
Okay.
in the middle of my local mall. Was not a great job. Um, and so I used to work from 9 in the morning to 9 at night, and I used to take the bus, the MARTA bus
Yeah.
that goes right up the street. So I got off about about 10 o'clock. Well, no, I got off the job. I got off the bus at 10 o'clock. Got off the job at like 9. I was on the bus about 9:30. It was about 9:30 at night, and I get a message from Michael. Like the song's out. It's been out for like a few hours. It's doing crazy fucking numbers. Like about like 1,000 views like a minute. Well, not a minute. No, 1,000 views an hour. No, 10,000 views an hour.
There you go.
Yeah, it was like 10,000 views an hour, and I had never seen these kind of views before. So I was excited. The song was out like by like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really paid attention. Until like I got off work. By then it was like at 30,000 views. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because like right before that, like my previous release was like sitting at like 20,000.
Right, right.
And it was out for like a good month. So I'm on the bus about 9:30 at night, and Michael messaged me, tells me that Viv wants to talk to me. I'm like, huh? But I try to be as chill as possible because you try to play it off and be chill with these types of things.
Gotta be cool about it.
Yeah, and so we she sent me a what you call it, Discord friend request.
Mm-hmm.
Accepted it, and she just let me know like she and her team was like really enjoying the song, and she basically just straight up asked me if it would be okay if they made a video, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, can you do that? And yeah, it took about 5 months, just like from start to from storyboard to finished product. Was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like that's fast. And the rest is kind of history from there.
Yeah, no
Shit.
joke. That I can only imagine like how I have to ask how surreal has been like just the experience as a whole and kind of the reaction as a whole from it being just this fun little fan song that you want to do to this basically like YouTube mega smash hit among like a strong animation community.
I quit my job.
Yeah,
as a result of it. There's that. But no, with the community that I'm in now, like I've been like in like the like YouTube like nerdcore music community for like a little bit, for like maybe a year.
Okay.
I met like most of these people at a local anime convention in 2019. And I went in there, with aspirations of like being being a big like the EDM guy, because like there's lots of pop in the community, there's lots of rock in the community, but not a lot of like mainstream EDM people in the community. So it was like, right down the shine. But no, it was just a really nice community of like-minded music producers.
Right.
And now that I had Addict out, I saw a lot of these people, and I saw a lot of like even bigger people like in that community like making covers of the song and like just like spreading it out. and it was just really crazy. Um, like I had gone from like watching like Caleb Hyles, for example. I watched him perform at MomoCon
There we go.
2019, and then all of a sudden, like he's doing a cover of Addict, and it shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you didn't tell me. So you wanted it to be a surprise. I'm like, oh my god. So it's a lot has been a lot has happened. A lot has transpired, since Addict. Really, I'm just, I'm thankful. But also I'm just, I now have an opportunity to kind of use it as a vehicle to continue on, my music career in, much similar fashion to what I did with the Ponies. Just kind of use that to expand my own audience,
Oh no, I can only imagine where you come from. I can tell you right now, at least for me personally, I'll be upfront honest. I'm not gonna say I've always like paid attention to EDM, but I've never been like a huge fan of EDM as a whole. But like
Mhm.
that song, it just hits different, Like I don't know if it's like the vocals that you have along with it or something along the lines of that, but like it's gotten me it's gotten me addicted, to be blunt.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think like I'm trying to take an approach with EDM that most people don't really take with it. Um, like I'm trying to take a artistic approach to mainstream EDM. Like I'm trying, like people like Porter Robinson, Madeon, um, and the like. Names are foggy right now, but there are so many like big name like EDM producers who are like kind of like taking their own adaptation of EDM and like forming these really interesting stories and just really like making some amazing bodies of work with it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something similar to that, but I want to use like mainstream EDM sounds, like shit like Martin Garrix and Tiesto and whatnot. And I want to take it and I want to transform it in a way that hasn't been done before, so as to kind of like blur the lines of like mainstream and indie. Um, and honestly, I think Addict was kind of like me doing it correctly. I think I figured it out with Addict.
Yeah.
But then then comes an internal struggle with me where it's like, now do I just keep writing Addict over and over again, or do I alienate what little audience I've just amassed by doing something totally different? So far, I'm doing both.
I mean, fair enough.
So far, I'm doing both.
I was gonna say, like, to go a little bit, further. Like you said yourself, you got this new audience now. You haven't really slowed down at all. You've released at least 2 new songs since Addict, The Fire and Root of All Evil. I do want to say The Fire. This is gonna be a very unpopular opinion with many people. I actually prefer The Fire more than Addict. That's just me personally. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if I really don't know what it is, but it's like ever since I heard that, like with Addict, I had to warm up to it a little bit. I'll be honest, but when it came to The Fire, like it just clicked with me instantly. Like just how it was, and I hadn't even played the game that's attached with it, Helltaker. How did that song like come to be, if I may ask?
I never played Helltaker. But I've seen video gameplay of it. I've watched the whole thing. And I definitely do want to play it, at some point. It looks like a nice little puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
But the characters and the story was really interesting. And like I had a little melody in my head, and like that just kind of inspired. That came from that the inspiration came from Helltaker. I was just kind of like thinking about like the concept of like going to hell
Yeah.
and like forming a harem with these demons, like just like doing that. And so like I just I just like jotted it down in my head and in my phone. I jot all my lyrics down in my phone.
Okay.
I have a little app called Color Note that I wish they would hurry up and bring to iOS.
I was gonna say it's funny. I think I had the same thing from. I think I had the same one probably. Maybe.
Oh yeah, it's a great note app.
Yeah.
So I jotted, like that the initial melody was like, Tamina, that I don't know where it came from. Like I just thought of it, and like that whole little chorus was like all I had like in my head for like probably like a good 3 months. And
it really does stick with the person.
Yeah, and I reached out to Chi-Chi again, and she's a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I love her to, and I hit her up. I was like, I can't finish it. I can't write anymore. Can you help? So she helped me out with it. It was a full on like collab. And she wrote, I wrote, and yeah, and what came out. But it just started as like a neat little idea.
I mean, it was certainly a good idea that definitely took root.
Yeah. That's what happens. Like for me, it's always like little ideas. It's always little like small ideas that like just kind of rattle around in my head. It's not always, but it's almost always like the chorus.
Yeah.
And it rattles around in my head, and sometimes it'll be there for months. Sometimes it'll be there for like a few days, and I'll like have a whole song ready. But yeah, with the fire, it took at least 3 months.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you mentioned a little bit with having like that chorus stuck in your head. Does the same thing sort of happen with like instrumentals and such with like other songs and such? Like you have a certain like chord or a certain like set of notes that you want to like try and play around with, like based on a property or something.
Funny enough, that was Addict.
That was Addict. Okay.
It was the melody. I hummed it and I was walking from work.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Saturday, so I got off about like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was relatively sunny, and it was just like, and that was like November, I think. That was like October and November.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have like a bunch of melodies recorded in my phone. It's like nothing but like me just humming, and I have ideas for like other songs, and then like, cause like I have like I sometimes like a melody will like pop out in my head for like no reason, and then like I'll think like, ooh, that's a good idea. I'll say that for later, and then later comes. And lo and behold, it's gone. I can't think of it anymore. And for me, like it really just feels like a potential work of art just gone. And I hate that.
I can only imagine how frustrating that could be for you.
Yeah, so the Attic was just like, it was a spur of the moment, like recording of that melody, just hummed it in my phone, and then finally got home and produced it.
And well, a spur of the moment spawned into an $80 million or 80 million view video or 60 million view video.
Right? Crazy. I swear I didn't plan any of it.
Man, if only random ideas I came up with at least got 1 million views, I'd be a happy person. No, I'm joking.
I feel that though. It's one of those things where it's like, like I want to like have a formula for success, so that I can continue to profit forever. But at the same time, that's not what this artistry is about. This
No.
artistry is about the expression that comes out of a natural idea.
Yeah.
It's a natural growing of an idea, and it's like, it would be disrespectful to the process if I tried to milk it. That's why I struggle. Ask like, do I want to like write Addict again? Or do I want to alienate what little audience I just got by making something else?
I mean,
fair and
enough.
so.
I just, for me, like whenever you say that kind of stuff, my first thought is like always like a one hit wonder. Like if you ever see like any sort of like discography for a one hit wonder, their number one song is obviously the one hit, but then you have like 5 other ones that are just remixes or redos of the song that they do, and they're able to coast off that. But meanwhile, you have like artists out there like I forget the name, but like Kanye or like Jay-Z, stuff like that, to where they're always like or even like Kendrick Lamar, to where they're always like experimenting with their stuff, and like it may alienate some, but like for the most part, like whenever they try something new, people are gonna notice one way or another.
Yeah.
Like I
usually stuff like that is usually that usually comes off of like trial and error.
Yeah.
But those are like rare. Like Kanye, like from like 99 was like making like pretty fire beats, and then it was like 2002 where he was given the chance to prove himself with rapping.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about Kanye is that he got hella pushback.
Yeah.
Like people were like really at him, like just saying like, he's got the best beats in the world, but his raps, but he kept going and going and going, and like eventually like his lyrics like struck the right chord, and like he just kept on doing that and honing his craft. And so I think I just gotta hone my craft and just keep on going and doing what I think is right.
There you go. I mean, I'm probably gonna be one of well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna be probably one of thousands, if not millions, at this point. I was gonna say this. You should definitely keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's like, even Addict aside, there are legitimately some really good songs in your catalog that I listen to and stuff that I've like integrated to my own like playlists and stuff to listen to more often, because it's like legitimately like it's almost refreshing, like seeing this kind of like love and appreciation, like for both music and pop culture in the same vein,
Yeah. I'm excited for what the future holds. I keep on pushing. I miss your face, by the way.
I know. No, it's one of those. Oh man, like my webcam is like messing up big time right now for some reason. Like my usual webcam, I couldn't find it, so I had to go with this backup one for a second. Hold on.
Oh.
I talked about the fire, and you mentioned "Root of All Evil" for a second. I do want to indulge back into it just for one more second. I do want to say, like, on its own, it's a really solid song. Like I was one of the ones that enjoyed it. I know you said you got a little bit of blowback for it, but what dang it, words are wonderful. This happens like almost every podcast.
I feel that.
Come on, Nathan, you got this. Root of All Evil.
You got this. I believe in you.
Okay, so like Root of All Evil, like it's this nice little like dip and divulge into like a genre that you were familiar with, but one you haven't really like truly experimented with. Like, I this is gonna be an obvious question, but like, how satisfied were you with like the end product of it? And like, is it something you'd love to like indulge in more?
Well, like I started making this. I started making hip hop. Okay. Like I started like in like it's not what I blew up with. It's not what I got my first big break with.
Right.
But it's like the very first genre that I made, like in 2006. I know hip hop like the back of my head.
There you go.
So that's in my blood. I can't get that out to you. That's something that I just can't let go of. Like EDM is definitely like my passion. But hip hop is my culture.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit goes a little bit further than my passion for EDM. But I mean, with that said, whatever I like, is what I'm gonna make. So it's definitely not gonna be my last like rap song.
Okay.
For sure.
I mean, I know, at least for me, I'm certainly excited to see what's next. Speaking of, like, I want to divulge to stuff that's, like, in the making, particularly one album that you teased about that's years in the making, so to say. Can you, like, divulge a little bit more into, like, what this, like, album that you, correct me if I'm wrong, this is, like, the essential, like, Equestrian Stories album or something like that, or?
Yeah, that one took about 3. You mean like the one that's supposed to be after that, or like this one?
Like the one that's supposed to be after that you haven't released yet.
Okay. No, no. You're. That's a totally valid question. Essentially, like I had ideas for like this big ticket. That's you. Yeah. Essentially, I had ideas for this like big grandiose like brony EDM album.
Okay.
And I had already came up with like singles and whatnot and collaborations. What essentially happened was, so like I think it was like 20, I want to say like 20, yeah, about 2015 to 2016. I had these singles lined up for it, and like I had plans on making like this big grandiose album. I just got really overwhelmed with everything because it was between that, some internal drama, trying to work a job, trying to actually earn some money, because the money I was making at the time was good money,
Right.
but it wasn't like self-sustaining money,
Right. Right.
So I essentially had to take on other avenues of making some money while I was working on this music. And so I got a job, and it was it all became just like way too stressful for me to like try to like, because like then I found myself like releasing singles, like little random singles,
Mm-hmm.
For little extra finance. And
Right.
so yeah, it got all like too stressful, and like most of the album is like done. Well, I won't say most of it, like over half of it is done for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But like a good chunk of it is like either like completely like it's like still in work in progress phase, or have barely been like fleshed out.
Gotcha.
And what sucks is the majority of them are like all like ideas that I definitely like have a like good understanding of. It's just I need to take time to like flesh them out. And these are like at this point like 5, 6, 7 year old ideas, And so now I'm just kind of like, now it's like I don't know, you know. Now it's in limbo. It's
Okay.
currently in limbo, and because I have other releases now, that I definitely want to focus a lot more on, and as far as this Pony album is concerned, we'll see what happens.
For all we know, this could eventually be your edition of Detox by Dr. Dre, the album that's supposed to come out but never
Essentially, this is how Detox. This is exactly how Detox is made.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird, like seeing those kinds of albums and like being
Yeah.
on the other side, and it's just like, damn, what the fuck is taking so long? And then you get to the other side of it, and then it's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I can only imagine if I was to walk a mile in your shoes. But you know what? I mean, as an artist, you should be free to express yourself however you want, whether it be focusing on this album or working on other stuff. And you mentioned it, but like, what kind of stuff should we anticipate from you in the near future?
I'm definitely doing a lot of. I'm going full in right now on like the EDM stuff.
Okay.
And so you're definitely gonna hear a good old house from me. A little electro stuff.
Okay.
Definitely expect some dubstep, some trap, some mid-tempo, just all of it, just all of the EDM spectrum. I definitely plan on exploring all these avenues in upcoming releases. But I won't, like as far as like like little influences, I definitely don't plan on staying too close. I do plan on getting inspiration from near and far, and I definitely plan on to like turn up in future projects. So like the main ideas are there, but as far as like the textures and little ideas, we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, let's delve away from like what you are working on. Let's focus. I want to take a little moment to ask this fun little question that I love to ask like people making stuff or whatnot. Let's say that I am this prestigious music producer that gets to goes up and be like, I have connections with everyone, and I mean literally everyone in the music community. What would be a dream collaboration that you would love to do?
What's my dream collab? What is my dream collab?
Or if not dream collab, like what would be like the ideal like producing job for you? Like I would love to produce an album for such and such. Like either or.
I would love for as far as that goes, I would love to produce an album for Chi-Chi.
Okay.
But we've talked about that already.
I'd love to see that because Chi-Chi's got a wonderful voice. Seriously, like I don't know if this is unpopular or not, but she's a very like underrated singer. Like seriously.
Yeah, she's amazing, and the popular opinion is that she's amazing. Mm-hmm. I've told her like it's album time.
Yeah, it's album time.
But like I mean, as far like other than that, like maybe like I've always said like I could write Kanye his next hit album. I could do it. I could easily do it.
Okay.
Like I know exactly what the next Kanye album like needs, and I could be the executive producer of Kanye's next album.
Okay.
Dream collab, Kanye.
Okay.
That kind of goes without saying. But really, honestly, I don't really have a dream collab. Okay. I guess Kanye would be that dream collab, but like there's so many like fresher faces that I would also love to collab with. Dua Lipa.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Amazing. Sam Smith.
Oh,
I would love to do a song with Adele.
Oh, that would be interesting. I'd love to see that.
I would love to do a song with Adele. Skrillex.
Okay.
Yeah, Skrillex is always like on his like he's always exploring different genres, and he's got that infinite well of creativity, and I would love to work with him. Daft Punk. They're cool. they're just gods in what they do.
Yeah.
Those are like my like dream collabs.
Okay.
I would say. Yeah.
I would love to see just any and all of them, like seriously, especially like the Kanye one's the one that's got me like most curious more than anything else, because like Kanye's always like been experimental with what he does in one aspect or another. So I would love to see what you would bring to the table, what Kanye would like to like mesh with that sort of collaboration.
I figured it out. I figured out his system. Like after like following for years, I have finally like figured it out.
Okay.
And it's a long-winded and a long drawn-out explanation that I'm not going to get into right now.
Fair enough.
Essentially, there is a time where Kanye is taking in information, and there is a time where Kanye is giving out information. Mm-hmm. And in order to be able to predict his next hit, you kind of have to look at the culture of the world at large.
Okay.
And you have to kind of play numbers with that. because if you look at his discography from the first album to the latest, it's all a consistent trajectory of ideology to ego.
Okay.
And you have to it's from there. Once you map that out, it's all linear, and then so you just kind of have to like be smart about what comes next.
Fair enough. Although I do want to say consistency with Kanye. Word I never thought.
I know that, but that's the thing. That's part of what makes him tick. Yeah. His consistency is inconsistency.
Okay. No,
that's part of it.
I get where you're coming from. All right, I respect that.
And there is a certain amount of inconsistency to his prior album that is a direct ratio of, with each release. It's a direct ratio of what kind of content to expect from you.
Okay.
And that's kind of how you play that.
All right then.
But that's just a base explanation.
Fair enough. No, that's more than I expected to hear about when it comes to Kanye, because I listen to a lot of this stuff. So I mean, I like thinking back on it and looking at like how he's released stuff or whatnot. I kind of see where you're coming from. I kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask this question now. Like, you already got like these dream collaborations mapped out, or that you would love to have. You have all these like future projects that are in the works right now. Let's go a little further. Where do you hope to see yourself maybe 5-10 years from now?
5 to 10. Famous, hopefully.
Yeah. You're not already?
No. I'm popular. I'm not famous. But don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for each and every fan that follows me, But I don't chase fame, I know what fame can do for me, and I know what I want fame to do. The problem becomes trying to stay within. The problem is trying to stay between those two areas evenly. Most people just kind of like make a hard left and a hard right, and it hurts them. So my hope is that I don't experience. Well, not my hope isn't that I don't experience it. My hope is that I navigate it accurately.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, popular, I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, more popular.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. With that, I have one last question I need to ask, and I ask this for almost every single guest. I forgot to ask this once or twice, but as an artist yourself, in many different senses of the word, I mean, it's easy for you to say that art is very important, but how important is it? How important is art for you, but also for the world as a whole?
Art. We as a species cannot live without art. We, as human beings, with our brains, with our way of development, cannot exist in this current. We as humans cannot exist the way we do and the way we want to without art. Art imitates life. Life imitates art. Art is the influencer.
Okay.
Art is the messenger. Art is the method of communication. Everything we do, I don't think. One thing people don't realize: everything we do is art. Speaking is art.
Yeah.
How we speak, how we, like voice actors are performing an art, and it's an art that we don't pay attention to because we do it on a daily basis, but we only have one mode of communication. We naturally only have one mode of communication. Voice actors voice actors learn how to communicate in multiple different modes. That's what we talk about. How good voice actors. We talk about their range, among other things, of course. But we talk about their range. We talk about how many different modes a voice actor can go in. Art is, art is words are art, whether spoken or literal or literary. Every book is a work of art. Every book is a collection of words that we know in our understanding of human language that all come together in a very unique way to convey a message in the form of that author's choosing. That is an art. That is communication. That is storytelling. And there's always visual art. Visual art. It's fucking art.
Yeah.
Well, no, art, art. Visual art. Paintings and pictures. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Pictures are worth as many words as the human mind can think of when taking in that piece of art.
Yeah.
And that's either to convey a message of humor, a message of seriousness, a message of directive, a message of parody. Art is the great communicator, and we cannot live as we do without it. Art is necessary to the human race, and so as we develop, as we as we go, as we grow, as we get further in our age, we develop new ways to communicate. We develop new ways to put out ideas of we put out new ideas in new ways that other people haven't been able to do before. And that uniqueness is important to the human race, because that uniqueness is what gives the human race that extra avenue to be able to communicate more ideas than ever before. As I said earlier, ideas are king. Ideas are ideas are the seeds of creation. And art is the communication of those ideas. So yeah, that's me. That's me. My discount Kanye.
I was gonna say, like, quite, I'm at a loss for words, honestly, because I always ask that question, but I never anticipate like such a deeply thought out and like super like inflective like message like that. That was wonderfully worded, if I say so myself. That is great usage of your art right there.
I like art. I like to finger paint.
There you go.
No, it's a little better than that.
I was gonna say I like art too. That's why I have an art podcast where I bring on people that are incredible artists, such as yourself. But with that,
thank you.
With that, I'm all out of questions. Silva, I just want to say real quickly. First off, it has been an absolute blast to have you on the podcast. This is, I don't know what I was expecting, but this was a million times better than what I was expecting.
Thank you.
But I also want to say, like, it's incredible to see, like, with any sort of community out there, it's always incredible to see people like sharing the same interests as yours, and to see you take that interest and turn it into a passion that creates such incredible art. It's wonderful to see just like how far you've come so far, and like I know that this popularity, like this flash of it, must be like overwhelming at times for you and such. But I just want to say, like, it's incredible to see it, especially like as prominent as it has been. And I honestly cannot wait to see what's next for you. It's absolutely incredible. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time. I really do appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, dude. This was good. This was fun. I don't do enough of these, but then again, there aren't enough of these that are as good as yours.
Oh, you're just trying to butter me up at this point, aren't you?
Nah, I mean it.
I really do genuinely appreciate that. Go ahead and plug yourself for the people down below.
Silvahound.com. That's it.
You know what?
Well, wait. Okay, Root of All Evil is out now. Go check it out. Erica Lindbeck, the Stupendium, amazing artists, did an amazing job. Support them. Support HELLUVA Boss, and support me.
Did not expect that last little bit, but I will be sure. I will be sure to at least link the video and some of the other ones, as well as your website down below, to where you get all the links on his website.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have anything? Do you have any last words before we sign off?
Corona ain't over, motherfuckers. Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
That's it.
Corona ain't over just because you over it.
Exactly. Facts. Facts.
I got like 10 or so different masks over there, so like trust me, I'm more than prepared. Well, I'm not gonna say prepared, but I'm more than
ready.
Yeah, more than ready, I guess.
That's a vibe.
There we go. But with that, all I have left to say is hasta luego, mi amigos.
Yeah.